Now, since the new band list has come out, we can actually play this deck again because Pearly is a deck. So Necro Valley and Anti-Spell have become very good again. And also, since Cash has been hit, the format is a little bit slower. Only a little bit. Recommend not playing this deck against Super Heavy Samurai. It's not going to end very well. But this is Crystal Beast. You all will remember this from seeing it when it occasionally cropped up at the YCS during tier format. So the reason why it was good was because the deck could consistently search Mystic Mine as well as Necro Valley. Now, since mine's got, we have to play the Secret Village as like its poor substitute, but it's not really a bad substitute. It's kind of great because you have access to spells, spellcaster at any point in the game because your spellcaster is in your extra deck. But beyond that, the deck's gone through a little bit of changes, not a lot, just kind of a little bit, but we'll go through the monsters, spells, traps, and then I explain it into each segment. So for the monsters, we play the 3 Ash Blossom and 3 of the Shifter. These are the only hand traps you need to play. Shifter is amazing because nothing that you care about goes to the grave. All the spells, you're not too bothered if they go to the grave. The traps, the only one you kind of cared about. The Rainbow Bridge of Salvation because this is a free search, and maybe Crystal Miracle to an extent, but you can kind of live without Crystal Miracle. It should be fine. No other real hand traps are needed in the main because it's really good control at what it does. The only other thing is like the Gamma Zeals. So here's a major change from like the previous list of we play the Gamma Zeals now because I forgot that the continuous spell bounces your opponent's stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty much like I had the line of play of like, oh yeah, it just outs their stuff, and that's fine, that's fine. And then it kind of dawned on me of, wait, we give them a kaiju, and then we bounce back the kaiju, and then we give them a kaiju again, and then we can bounce back said kaiju during their turn with the continuous spell or the trap. So endless kaiju. We draw one kaiju and we just keep kaijuing them every day, and that seemed beautiful, and it worked beautiful. The only issue is you have to draw the kaiju. Drawing the other stuff's fine. You play in like a deck of infinite searches, so it's okay about everything else. Then into the Crystal Beast part, we have the 1 Cobalt Eagle, the 3 Rainbow Dragon Zenith thing, 1 Ruby, 3 Sapphire Pegasus, and the 1 Brick of the deck, the Rainbow Dragon. You never want to draw this. It's very sad when you do because basically your Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon doesn't work because you have to add the Rainbow Dragon for it to work, and it's quite difficult to get it back into the deck. Fair enough. You can live without it, without using this effect and just using it as a big beat stick. However, you kind of want to use it for its additional summon to make some Xyz plays during the start of your turn, because making Bagushka is still very good going first, especially when you've got like other things to protect it. All the other ones are kind of standard, and you don't need any more of the other Crystal Beasts. So you could, if you're playing the advanced version, then fine, you do actually play the advanced Crystal Beasts. But for Conclave control, this is literally it. You can run off all of these and just outgrind your opponent very slowly. Then on to the spells, we play 3 Awakening, 2 Bond, 2 Goods, 1 Necro Valley, 3 Pot, 3 Rainbow Bridge, 3 Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, and 1 Secret Village of the Spellcaster. So the only ones that I'd say that are kind of like important for the ratio wise is Bond. For the sole purpose of Bond becomes kind of useless halfway through the, well, depending on how many turns you go into, it becomes kind of useless. So you don't want to see multiple copies of it. That's why we play it 2. The only time you can kind of get away with playing 3 is if you're really, really lucky with the Cobalt Eagle to put the stuff back to the top of the deck, so Bond is good. But it gets to a certain point, a dead card to draw, so you don't really want to see it. As for the goods, we play it 2. We only really have one decent target for goods, and that's the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. Everything else you kind of don't want to goods away, so that's why we don't play more than 2. We want to see it more, but we can live without it, sort of. Prosperity, because this is just anything in your deck. You play 3 copies of everything, so if you reveal 6, you're probably going to hit something that you actually need. The best card that is not once per turn. Gotta love you, Konami. Even though this is, I would say that this is legacy support, sort of. It was still printed in the periods of once per turn cards, so thanks for not putting that clause on this, because now this is just amazing. And then everything else is kind of standard for the spells. The traps I've cut down a little bit on, so we play only 2 Conclave, 2 Miracle, 2 Imperm, and 1 of the Salvation. So I cut down on the Conclave and the Miracle because we're trying to actually play this deck a lot more quicker than I used to. Like, when I played this at the start, I was playing a lot more slow because I just had no idea how the deck worked. It was just basically just slow grinding, but now that I've got to the point where I can kind of understand the lines of play a bit better, I realize that you don't. Miracle is just, especially Miracle. It's good when you draw it, because it means another card that you don't have to search. But after turn 2, well, your turn 2 or 3, you kind of push in for a lot of damage with the big monsters or you spot removaling stuff. And because in Crystal Beast you can actually semi-OTK in one turn if your opponent doesn't put anything that's too problematic on the field, Miracle isn't needed as much. Conclave, Free Compulse, it's still good. I would, if I was going to play at 3, I'd cut one of the Miracles and just live off one of the Miracles, but I can't cut one because the second one does come up, and when it does come up, it is really, really painful to not have it. Imperms, I want to play 3. I just don't know what to take. That's the only problem, and I don't want to play too much stuff in the main. I don't want to end up making this like some 60 card toolbox. And Salvation is just amazing. It searches your field spell as well as the Free Crystal Beast, so there is like no neg to this. And there has been that one funny time. My opponent actually was playing Lich, and he had a Golden Lord and a Lord of the Heavenly Prison up, and I was able to resolve its first effect. It is very rare you will resolve its first effect, but it's funny when you do. It's really, really funny, because in that circumstance, I reset the game for me, and he was out of Eldritch Traps. So yeah, that was fun times. Then for the extra deck, we play the 1 Garuda, 1 Mud Dragon, and 1 of the Venom Dragon, as well as Dweller, Emerald, Zeus, Chidori, Bagushka, Digaris, Tornado Dragon, the 2 Zoos, Nightmare Phoenix, Underworld Goddess, and the Wind Charmer. So the reason why we play the Wind Charmer over all of them is because Wind Charmer searches the Pegasus. Like, we could have played the Light Charmer, but it doesn't do as much, and we have most of our normal summons are wind types, so we don't really. Most of our normal summons are actually wind types, so it's easiest to access this, and when it dies, you get to search free Pegasus. All the other stuff, it's just basically staples, for just toolbox stuff. I did contemplate playing multiple copies of Zeus, however, you kind of get your back row filled a bit too easily, and then it just leads to the point where like, you don't want to Zeus anymore. Your standard stuff is actually just going Bagushka or Dweller with some follow-up, and then that's it. The only time you really want to go into Zeus is when you can guarantee that you're going to kill your opponent next turn, so you kind of need Awakening in your hand plus ways to get Ruby back into the spell and trap zone. So yeah, that's really it. You can change it up a lot of it. It's just that I played a bunch of one-offs now because Diablos is gone, so I don't really care anymore. And then on to the side, we play the best hand trap in the game, Droll, and then 2 Ogre, 3 Super Poly, 1 Crystal Bloom, 3 Evenly Matched, and 3 There Can Be Only One. So the Droll is not main because I think Ash does a bit more in the format. Droll's more sided when I actually know what I'm up against, so then I can change up the main a bit to deal with stuff. Ghost Ogre is just good because this is more designed for my locals, and people just walk into the Ghost Ogre really easily. I've been up against Ricker Plants enough times to know that this is just free stuff. Plunder, amazing. Eldritch does nothing. And against Spright, kind of does stuff, because they've used Griffin Rider, and I've been able to pop it, and that's about it. Super Poly, because it's just a free board breaker, and this card is amazing. This is the card that, when you know you're going into time, you side this in. So what this does is it specials 2 Crystal Beasts from your spell and trap card zone, and then you gain life equal to their original combined attack. So if you know that you're going into time, you just go, okay, Pegasus, put the Crystal Beast Zenith to my spell and trap zone, activate the spell that searches this, set 1 pass, and then you activate this, gain 3k. Cool. Can you inflict 3k before in under a minute? Nope. Cool, I win. It's more funny. There've been other times where I've actually done the double Rainbow Dragon and spell trap cards just to guarantee that I don't die. But the second one went in because of Crystal Bond. So I play Bond, get one into spell trap cards on normal, the Pegasus get the other one, and then just be sitting and smiling at my opponent. knowing that I'm about to win in the most corniest way possible. Evenly is just evenly, and Tikaboo, they're all different types surprisingly. Cobalt Eagle is a wing beast, Pegasus is a beast, the Rainbow Dragon is a dragon, and Ruby is a fairy. So none of the cards kind of do anything to each other. It just means that you just can't have multiple copies of the same card up, but that's not really a problem in the deck. You can work around it quite easily. But yeah, that's really the deck list. Open to suggestions as always to make this better. Besides the suggestion of play this at locals, because I'm not dismantling Exorcist after I've just built it just to play this again.